Alright, this is going to be a best of 9 between Phoenix, Drive, Shoktrepet, and Eclipse. Every player besides Phoenix picking their faction. Phoenix actually lucking out here, getting Traveler 59 in this first game. It's going to be a long series, I hope. And you may have noticed already, there is no UI in the bottom left corner because we don't need any of that down there. So up in the top right, we have Phoenix as the Traveler 59. He's going to be over here, and his ally Drive. He picks Scrin in this game. 2 Scrins, not the best, really. It's not ideal. If my sound is too low, then do let me know, guys, in the stream. I believe I have all the levels sorted out. I fail at that, but I do my best. On the left-hand side, we've got Eclipse playing as Nod. I don't believe we need to even see if he's playing Nod. Oh, he's going Mark to Kane. I guess he'll pick that as well. But for Eclipse, he's a Nod player. He's going to play Nod whenever he can, especially in a tournament. This is a show match. I don't know the cash prize, who wins what, but Big Mule is sponsoring this. And on the left-hand side, we got Shoktrepet playing as the Cyan GDI. How did you disable the bottom HUD, heads-up display? I modded, I replaced a texture with a transparent one. So I modded my 4K mod to not have this here. I even gave Cybert that as well. So this map is pretty familiar, I suppose, to everyone in the stream chat. A couple of the synths for Drive, going to pick away at this spike. There's no scoreboard, so you guys will just have to keep track of the players, but Yellow Scrin will be Drive. He's going to take out this spike without too much of a fuss. Can't put the synths into garrisons. Maybe for the best, would be a little bit broken on maps such as Rift and this one. I mean, this is basically Tournament Rift. I keep these seeing from the server every time I log in, not sure why. Just eco play coming out from the left hand side. Now usually on this map it is the bottom player that expands south, while the top player queues refineries and takes both of the spikes. I don't think anything has gone out of the norm when it comes to that. Yeah, see, Drive took both of the spikes. He's going to queue a third refinery, and by the time his ally Phoenix drops the drone ship, he'll be placing his ref at this expansion field. This is not the best location to expand for Shoktrepet, because his ally won't be able to put his refineries on the field that he should be putting them on. He should ideally be placing his MCV between both fields. Maybe not so good at 2v2 after all, Shoktrepet and Eclipse. I kid though, because they won the last tournament. And this is basically a rematch from the tournament that they were successful in. 2 bikes for Eclipse, bike buggy coming out. This is a second war factory for him. 2 war factories for Eclipse. 2v2 show match without me. Yeah, I know, Space. It's nice to see Phoenix back. Bike buggy versus Seekers. Should be able to hit and run. Trade 1 bike or 1 Seeker. That's always good for the bikes. They are $600. Seekers a little more pricier. They don't take rear damage as far as I'm aware, Seekers. They're the only vehicle that doesn't, besides the Harvester, which is very interesting. Eclipse getting some nice trades, as you see. He's picking up the reinforcements. That Seeker tank will just about escape. I'm going to turn on the health bars so we can keep an eye on what's going on. Buzzer in the base for Drive. He's going to see the Steel Double War Factory pumping out those bikes. There's a refinery down for Eclipse, but I don't feel like he's done the economic damage to make that second War Factory push pay off, unless Shoktrepet has been ecoing up himself. I don't see that working out, because The team on the right-hand side has just been left to eco up. Mind you, they have been spamming Seekers, but they've only done it on a singular war factory. Scrin, obviously, on one warp sphere can produce faster than what the GDI and nods can on a singular war factory, because they don't have a animation delay when they queue units. Units just literally spawn out of a wormhole from the Scrin homeworld and they appear on Earth. Just like that. 5 Seekers for Drive. He's probably researching attenuated force fields. Phoenix can't get that upgrade. Oh, nice bit of micro there from Eclipse. Got a battle marker down here. Looks like this APC rocket push will be intercepted. I feel like the team on the left-hand side are just bleeding a bit too much when it comes to their forces here. But I mean, Seekers, APCs, bike buggy, they're going to be of limited use as the game goes on a map like this where the middle fields are going to be cluttered with anti-infantry defenses, obelisks and storm columns. It's going to be hard to make use of those units, so I guess sacking them now is good. Tech center does fall to the Firehawks. That's what Shoktrepet was taking up for. He's going to try and get away here. His ally Eclipse will allow for those Firehawks to escape unharmed. Nice work. And that's a big deal. Phoenix is now down to tier 1. Those Firehawks, very oppressive. As you see, he's got these Stratofighters online. And that's going to allow them to jump across the map and take out the Scrin tier 3. Now, Scrin are particularly vulnerable to Firehawks because they don't have a way to make the armor of the tech center more like the GDI and Nod factions do. Shock will scout the other tech center here. There's a shard launcher upgrade on the way. If I were him, I would be jumping right over here now and taking out that tier 3. It would probably be a game-winning move. So he's going to do just that. He's going to read my mind. He's going to cancel the upgrade. 3 Firehawks, they will pay for it with their lives. Actually, 1 does barely escape. What is the health on that bad boy? 1% health. Yeah, that's must be very frustrating for the team on the right to deal with that. There's no real tech units out. There's a Marv on the map. And as a result, Phoenix is now spamming shock troopers. He's got 4 squads on the map. Not quite enough, no, to kill a Marv. He needs really a hexapod. It's a bad team composition having 2 Scrin players. I think Phoenix picking the random was a mistake. He should pick his faction next game, because if the team on the left-hand side win due to those Firehawks, it's because of the fact that Phoenix picked that random and got the Scrin. Okay, so there is a force here for Drive. He's managed to squeeze out 2 tripods. Maybe we could make an effort for this base over here. He probably has a stasis shield that he can use. A couple of Seekers there, not upgraded with shards. Eclipse just going to beacon those 2 Shoktrepet, who probably has better units to deal with Seekers. He is GDI after all. He can get hammerheads out. Firehawks will fly over those Seekers. He probably has Scrin tech on his mind once again. Shard launchers is online for Phoenix. Tech center and stasis chamber very close together. Could probably nail both of them if Shoktrepet decides to jump in. Hammerheads taking out the Seekers. As I mentioned, it's probably better just to leave the GDI player to kill those instead of the bike buggy, which are a little less effective. Hexapod out for both players, so the 4 Firehawks haven't been able to keep those players detect. Oh, what was that? Firehawks all went down and the tier 3 lives. Did he just seriously bomb a power plant? The tech center in the north was completely undefended. This, not so long ago, wasn't upgraded with shard launchers. I feel like that was a missed opportunity for Shoktrepet, but that's going to change the momentum here. There's a fully established base on the left. Both sides have their epic units out. A lot of corruptors back here. This is good for Drive because he's moving some of them forward just in case they all get clicked by the Catalyst Missile. Catalyst Missile can kill Corruptors. So he's going to anticipate that and leave 3 back there just in case they all get clicked. Now, speaking of clicks, there probably is none. I mean, obviously there's none for the team on the right because it's just Skrin, but Eclipse needs to be careful with his forces here. Unless he gets this dev ship, that's not going to be worth sacking all these bikes. He gets away with the bikes, kills the dev ship. That's some nice work there. There's a commander running forward. That's not going to get anywhere. Unless he decides to take over this avatar. But there is a couple of hammerheads there. Almost doesn't take out the commando. Does fall though. Huge amount of blue Tiberium getting harvested in the bottom for Phoenix and Drive. They're going to take away all that Tib. But they aren't harvesting anywhere. They really need that blue Tib to come in. Epic Rage Gen on the tripods. That's a pretty sick amount of damage. Shields does come online, which is very convenient. There's an EMP here which you can use on those and nail them with the Spectre artillery. That was a really good timing, by the way, with the force fields coming on. He would have lost 2 more tripods if that weren't the case. There's 2 plasma missile batteries there with shard launchers. Not sure if you guys can see that, but if the hammerheads moved in there, they would all get destroyed and taken out. Temporal Wormhole comes down. No cybernetic legs for Eclipse. There's a Sonic emitter that comes down, but he needs to make sure that the Sonic is firing in the right spot. Hexapod going in for the crush on those Spectres. There's 2 there, which will get crushed. If Eclipse is paying attention, you could sell the Shadow Turret and get an Awakened Squad to EMP. Mechapede falls. There's 2 tripods there, which the Zone Troopers can take out. Instead, he's firing at the phased Hexapod. He'll never be able to deal with that. Oh no, what is he doing? Oh man, Shoktrepet is really not microing here, is he? He's got 2 elite Zone Troopers, which he's just using to kill the phased Eradicator Hexapod. The Marv, meanwhile, is out of action. He needs to be over here because it's really 2v1 here at the moment when it comes to epic units. The Redeemer is alive. There's 4 Juggernauts, and the harvesting operation has not been stalled. That's the beauty of Disruption Towers. You can still harvest while the fight is going on. There's no stealth detection for the side over here, so it's going to be difficult to make the right micro decisions. They do know there's 4 Juggernauts back there shelling them. There's a tripod there, which he will use to try and EMP the Redeemer, but the thing is, oh, he does get the EMP off just in the nick of time as well. That was very fortunate. This Redeemer may have failed there. What was Phoenix doing? He had the chance to kill that. He's now going to get raged. All these tripods will start firing on themselves. None falls, fortunately. I feel like Eclipse needs to go back into Spectres again. These tripods are very wounded. Now, they can get healed next to allied war factories in this patch, so he could just put them near that and get them all healed up. I like the control from Shoktrepet when it comes to hammerheads. He's not wasting his hammerheads into those defenses. He's just waiting until those shard AA defenses are gone and taken out, but Drive's continuing to place them. EMP on the Hexapod coming down will lock that down. Lots of shard AA. Shoktrepet made a mistake there. 5 of the hammerheads fall. The Marv's in action. There's more Zone Troopers coming in with this support power. Really underrated support power when it comes to against Skrin. As long as you can dodge the Buzzer Swarm, Zone Troopers, especially veteran ones, are incredibly useful. This Redeemer will fall. There's 4 tripods here, but oh man, that was such a sick EMP. Takes out all of the tripods. I thought that Redeemer would fall. It's really hard to know what's going on in this game. How do these players do this? There's so much happening. Oh man, if this Hexapod falls, that's going to be a huge blow. Oh man, he tried to teleport it. Drive tried to teleport it and failed. We saw the Hexapod get destroyed, and that's probably going to be it, because it's now a Marv and a Redeemer versus just Phoenix's Hexapod. There's only 1 Corruptor to heal the Hex. He needs more than that. There's no real answer to these juggernauts either. There's a stealth tank out as well. Those Devastators are pretty much toast against stealth tanks. Yeah, that's going to go down. Look at that. 2 tripods. Marv should be able to deal with those. It's going to take a miracle, I think, at this point. Okay, this is a good start. That was a beautiful phase. But this Redeemer has to fall. He's going to take that out. And there's another army back here for Phoenix. Where did all these shock troopers come from? Holy crap, these shock troopers, man, just came out of nowhere. Bikes in the back of the base there, but now the Marv's EMP'd. And the shock troopers have no answer. The forces in the back there getting taken out. There's even a commando as well. Where's he getting the resources for this? I see there's a base established down south for Shoktrepet. A commando does get sniped there. Must have been the watchtower. Man, that really goes to show the power level of these shredder turrets and APM and watchtowers. The fact that those shock troopers just died in the blink of an eye, no pun intended, but yeah, those turrets are extremely powerful. There's an elite juggernaut back there. If that goes heroic, that'll be a first. Don't see those too often. Oh no, it gets destroyed by the lightning spike. Phoenix still has his hexapod alive. Okay, so it's going to change size once again. The shields have also replenished on the tripods. Secondary obelisk comes down. There's a base established down here, so this will be funded. Oh my god. You know, he's double dropping obelisks. Eclipse is double dropping obelisks. He's got money. There's even 2 specters back there which are still causing trouble. There's going to be another wave of obelisks coming down soon. There's a mastermind here, which he's going to use to take out the MCV. He's not ordering his mastermind to take out the MCV. The commander gets destroyed. Oh no. Can't afford to be losing anything at the moment. The hexapod is probably going to be destroyed at the moment that phase wears off. Yeah, they got the lower midfield as well. You can see there's only 2 harvesters on it. Hexapod will just about escape, but now there's no anti-air to deal with this Devastator warship. There's a Firehawk up in the air. Not sure if it's on anti-air loadout. Not going to be enough to kill the dev ship though. But Drive does beacon the MCV. He's going to go ahead and try and take out this MCV. Not sure if Eclipse has a tier 2 to place down anti-air turrets. Obelisk comes down, wants to kill the tripod, gets the rear armor on the tripod, takes it out. And now things have gone from bad to worse. There is still a hexapod alive, but Phoenix has not had that healed up. He's not healing it up. Does he have a Corruptor to heal that? No, he doesn't. There's a lot of tip down though for Phoenix. They must have taken a lot of damage to the bikes which were harassing them earlier. And that was an absolutely crazy fight in the middle. I can see why players like 2v2 for that. Oh no, oh my, wow, that was close. Tib core from the rear, that's insane. Drive going to, I mean, Phoenix is going to kill that stealth tank. The hexapod lives, but it's just one epic versus, well, versus everything. It's only a matter of time, I think, before this side will completely overwhelm Phoenix and Drive. Drive doesn't have anything really. It's just this one hexapod. They still do control 2 spikes. Drive must have a lot of resources from those because he's not queuing anything. Does he even have a drone ship? I don't think he does, no. Oh man. I don't think either side have a drone ship. Phoenix has, he's got one here. But yeah, it's getting really out of control now. There's a Redeemer coming out. And I believe it's going to be lights out for these 2. They have a lot of tib down there though. Yeah, but the problem is only Phoenix can build because Drive doesn't have a drone platform. And now there's stealth tanks back there, which will snipe harvesters. There's not much to defend it either. One lightning spike. Phoenix is just dithering a bit here. Oh no. What is going on? This is not me. I think everyone must have DC'd, yeah. Yeah, Cabal, that must have happened. So it wasn't just me. Anyway, we're on to game number 2 now. It's going to be Hurricane Lands, a classic Pred map. And these guys, fortunately, are going to stick to the same colors, so that's great for me. Great when I'm editing this series. So far, it's turning out to be a pretty sick series, so let's hope that it continues. It's going to be 1-1 for this team in the bottom. Shoktrepet and Eclipse. Mark to Kane for Eclipse. G-Dive Vanilla for Shoktrepet. Let's see if Phoenix and Drive decided to make any changes. Looks like Phoenix is a G-Dive faction this time. Not sure if he picked random. Wasn't paying attention to that. But Drive's going to stick to the scrin. We're going to go to a simulator here to see if he's got any upgrades on it. No advanced articulators, so one can assume he's scrin. Reaper 17, not so good in team games because they just lack that Devastator warship to siege enemy bases. G-Dive Vanilla for Phoenix. He's going to be pretty happy about that. He was a very good vanilla GDI player back in the day. I wonder why Drive's picking Scrin Vanilla. It does make them kind of vulnerable to Fast Tick Firehawk, but maybe he's got some sort of idea on how to counter it. So we just don't know what these guys have in mind. They must have gone over this series beforehand. They're not making arbitrary decisions. A lot of descents from Drive to take out this spike. There's already an APC out though for Shoktrepet. He's going to probably deal with this nicely, unless Shok makes a micro mistake and doesn't reverse that MCV, APC. So those descents are going nowhere. Beacon here, an Awakened squad again with this server issue. We're probably going to get the same happen again. Scrin is powerful in 2s. We don't see too many planetary assault carriers. I would have thought that the Scrin Armada is the reason for them being powerful. Because if you get enough dev ships and planetary assault carriers out, supported by your ally, I imagine that to be unstoppable. It would be nice to see the Scrin fleet come out. Mark of Kane is a curious choice. I suppose the EMP makes them a very nice option in the late game for locking down the enemy epic units. Plus they have stealth artillery. They can get cheaper disruption towers, so they can stealth the allies' base for $500. It's 1,000 for nods, so you get a pretty good discount when picking Mark of Kane. A few other things that you may not know about Mark of Kane is their cloaking field has half the cooldown as the vanilla nod cloaking field, but it's an expensive support power and I doubt anyone's spamming it. Buzzer falls. There's actually a push coming in here for Shoktrepet and Eclipse, but Drive has not expanded yet. Drive's going for dev tanks, but it's a double team. And the dev tank shot the pitbull, which is exactly what he was hoping for, Shoktrepet. Because now these bikes are going to be taken out. This is a pretty sick double team. There's a Pred tank though for Phoenix. They already anticipated this to be coming. There's 2 pits there as well. Harvester will likely fall. There's now a lightning spike for Drive. This is a pretty messy engagement. Harvester does fall. I think it may be now time to get out of there because Eclipse is no way getting to kill another Harvester. All of those units fall. I think he was too greedy. There was no need for him to engage more. Now, where does that put both sides? Eclipse has an expansion, Drive does not. Drive only has a singular refinery, so somehow those guys on the left were able to put that much aggression into that engagement and not sacrifice their economy. Maybe Drive forgot to build, maybe he forgot to expand. He went for that dev tank though. Drive sold second ref, yeah. I think that was a mistake, Gospari. It doesn't seem like it was necessary. Nice synergy between Eclipse and Shock. Yeah, it looks very solid. These guys are playing great. Nice micro of the Harvester from Shock to from Eclipse. He's going to pull that back. Feel like things are crumbling for Drive and Phoenix. Drive, he doesn't have anything really. He's got an expansion but no units. It's going to quickly fall apart if you look at the map situation. Both players on the left, they've got 2 bases each. Drive's just stuck on this one base, and he's trying to queue what looks to be a tier 3. Is he going Mechapeds? Mechapeds against a GDI player. I can only imagine how that will turn out. There's even Scorp tanks out now for Eclipse. So they're just cementing their lead in this game. It's up to Phoenix to bring this back. He's going for Orcas. He's going for Pred tanks. Harvester is under attack. Eclipse trying to disrupt the income as much as possible. There's 2 Harvesters only on this expansion from Phoenix. Nice spread on the refineries. He won't get 1 click, but there's not enough Harvesters. He's got a lot here, about to harvest. Really no Tiberium. He needs to transfer those. Could have transferred them a little sooner. He's going to be stalling soon, and that's never good. A lot of Pred tanks and APCs out, but it doesn't really matter if this army falls, because Eclipse also has a similarly sized army. He probably has a second MCV. That's probably his second one. Yeah, look, he's got another one back at base, getting charged particle beams and the tip core upgrade. He's going to be placing obelisks for days. Even his ally Shoktrepet can place down sonic emitters. Tech center down for Shock. Some of his aircraft being destroyed. He went Orcas as well. Phoenix and Shoktrepet more or less doing the same thing as one another. Radar scan comes down on this field. 1 click. Will take out the Harvester because it was already damaged. There is a Hex out, but was it worth it? Was that worth it for Drive? He's got this 1 Hexapod. But you know what? I feel like he sacrificed too much for that. He really should have made an effort at expanding. Maybe next game, he should consider switching to a faction that can resist aggression a bit more. Maybe GDI. We know Drive's GDI to be very hard to stop. I think honestly that's his best faction. I'm curious to know why he's picking Skrin. Apparently you can shoot through that mountain. Double obelisks for Eclipse. Rear armor on that Hexapod. Look how much damage that's doing. 50% more damage is a insane amount of damage. CGF is like Hexapods, epic units. They take too much damage. They're too hard to beat. And yet, you just saw how quickly that fell there. So all that time and preparation for the Hexapod led to it not accomplishing anything. 2 obelisks was all that it took. There's an obelisk here, probably going to snipe. Nope, not going to get anything. This is... I hope the whole series doesn't go like this. Drive and Phoenix, they need to bring this series back after this game. It's going to slip further and further away if they fail to bring the momentum back after this match. I can't see them taking this game. I'm trying to look at it from all sides, but I cannot see it happening. There's even Mammoth tanks out for Shock here. Beaconing for Eclipse. He's just telling Shock that there could be some problems over here. Or maybe he's just saying, just put some refs on this field, bro. We've got this full field here to establish our income. They haven't even finished their secondary expansions either. I think more maps that are one-sided will do them best. Ah, yeah, for the double team. Is that what you're referring to, Gosberry? Because we just saw an epic double team there to Drive. Maybe that's what their whole plan is this series. Let's take out Drive quick so we can finish Phoenix off after. Yeah, good analysis, Space. That's all you really need to know at this point. More income means more units. There's even a refinery on the expansion of Drive. That just shows how much in command of this game Eclipse and Shoktrepet are. There's a Redeemer walking through. That Tip Trooper garrison does bugger all damage at all. It can slow down vehicles. Speaking of Tip Troopers, I got a video coming out tomorrow which you guys will absolutely love if you love Tip Troopers. No laser fence coming down. It's basically over. It was a prolonged defeat. Drive throws it in. I guess selling that refinery was a big mistake. And as a result, the team on the left-hand side will take this game. Look how much games can snowball if the early game goes very badly. Maybe that's not... is that really bad part of Kane's draft? The fact that you can't recover very well after taking economic damage in the start? Because it seems like you can't do anything some games if you lose a harvester in the beginning. Especially against two similarly skilled players. Maybe they're just typing in chat what they're going to do in the next match. Well, they took a lot of damage, yeah, but it was mostly Drive losing in the start, which led to this situation here. The double team was what won the game. Everything afterwards was a direct result of Drive being out of the fray for like 5 minutes. So I feel like they need to reevaluate their strategy next game, because it's now 2-0 for Eclipse and Shoktrepet. They're taking this series by storm so far. I'm hoping that it changes, because we definitely do not want to see a 5-0. Definitely not. And Leaf's 4G con, of course, doesn't cause any lag. I'm getting errors inside of the loading screen now. Can you believe it? Anyways, it's going to be another classic map. El Clásico. It's going to be Wasteland Dam. And on the right hand side will be, I think we can probably guess who this is. It's going to be Shoktrepet. He's going to be playing against the GDI, Cyan GDI, his ally Eclipse. Green marked of Kane. They're not going to change their factions. And on the left hand side we've got a switch up from Drive. He's picking Black Hand, which isn't very orthodox in a 2v2. The longer the 2v2 goes, the worse it will be for Black Hand. They just don't have the same late game power as the other factions. We're going to see what Drive can make of this. He's obviously got spikes in mind. Phoenix will be the GDI this game. So GDI Black Hand versus Marked of Kane GDI. Phoenix will decisively win this spike in the middle. So good start for him. Is he following this up with another engineer? There's no additional engineer. He's not building another one. Drive's going for this weird disciple opening. And he's going to get his... Oh my god, guys. Did you just see that? The Awakened are going to kill the Confessor Cabal squad. Oh my god. And Shoktrepet is even beaconing this. That is absolutely disastrous for Drive. That was terrible. Just a basic opening is going to allow Eclipse to take out that engineer. If I were him, I would just shoot this garrisonable structure. Couple of infantry here. I mean, I don't think they would be stream sniping, would they? Maybe I should have put a delay on my stream. But I do think people are going to stream cheat in a show match. I mean, seriously, not, right? This is not a tournament. I think this is, it was unnecessary. Very suspicious nonetheless. But there was only like 1 or 2 cabals there for drive. He should have committed more to taking the spike. He sent a lot of stuff through the middle. Ultimately, these towers are just going to be buying time. Eclipse has taken no economic damage. He's even got the spike in the bottom right, and drive here with the buggy is trying to see if there's a engineer. He can't. He was too late. The spike's been captured. And things have gone from bad to worse because Shoktrepet has got the spike. There's a foxhole here garrisoned by Phoenix, and somehow Shok has the spike. Don't ask me how that happens. This series is just... Let's see if this can go more further. Okay, this is a good start. This is really good. This AMCV cannot deploy on the terrain that it's on. Oh, it can just about deploy there. Oh man, I would go for this AMCV. It's really low on health. I don't think he's got enough DPS to kill this, because if he loses all these bikes, this is really, really bad. AMCV just about lives on the most smallest health ever. All that for nothing. If he had got the MCV, that could have been all that Drive needed. Drive sells his Conyard. He's only on a war factory and a barracks. It's up to Phoenix here to 2v1 their opponents once again. Drive's playing this like Futurama is his ally, because Futurama is usually that supporting role guy. Couple of Pipples moving through the middle of this map. But Shok's ready for them. There's a Harvester. Really low on health. Not sure how that got damaged. Phoenix obviously trying to kill that. Unable to. There's a Harvester and a Refinery down for Eclipse. He's got 3 ref. And he could probably just go for a second War Factory and roll into Drive's base with Scorpion tanks. It's difficult to transition to aircraft for Phoenix because his opponent, Shok, is a GDI player. He can go for hammerheads. Now, Eclipse, Phoenix did get back the spike. That's one consolation, I guess. He's also going for an expansion. Militant rocket spam. No upgrades. Oh, he's got the upgrade now. You can see the crate on the armory, which curiously is this crate here should be for the Tiberium field suits, because the red one is for composite armor in Tiberium Wars, but yet in Kane's draft it's the white one, which is weird. But, you know, that's just EA, I guess. Pretty good target for Tivane, I was about to say, but Drive's not got an MCV out. Tip Troopers. This unit is amazing if you have it under a voice of Kane. It's not actually dying either. This Tip Trooper is just going ham here, killing everything. Pipple's not able to get anything done. There's a mass infantry force, which will stop the expansion of Shoktrepet. But you know what? Eclipse here with this expansion is just going to snowball. Or he should, but he's not queuing anything from his MCV. A couple of bikes here for Drive. He's just trying to poke in and be a nuisance. 2 Harvesters likely to go down here. Shok is a bit distracted. He's got hammerheads out. I'm not sure if he knows that his Harvesters are being attacked and destroyed. There's 2 tanks, 3 tanks for Eclipse. He's trying to stop those from going down. A mass infantry force here. You know what would be good? A couple of AA turrets just to support them a bit more. Infantry pretty resilient. 2 gun damage with composite armor. But is it enough against hammerheads? Actually, yeah, it totally is enough. There's no AP ammo. Man, he could just attack, move right now and kill all those hammerheads. He's not doing it. Wasted opportunity there for Phoenix. Will snipe one of the hammerheads, but no AP ammo. Those hammerheads have not a chance. Drive's got an MCV back out. How is that even possible? He had only a war factory and a barracks. And I always get confused when I hear that, because it's the same exact sound that a drone ship makes when it's destroyed. I kind of get worried if I'm a scrim player for that reason. One click comes down. I would think that Drive's happy about that. He's keeping his ally afloat. But Phoenix really needs to win this side of the map. There's a Marv out for Shock. He's got a Pred APC force, which will die very quickly to these Shatterers and Preds. It's all going to come down to the Shockwave artillery. Now, Phoenix is experienced enough to know that Shockwaves win games. Those Shatterer tanks are actually doing a pretty sick amount of damage there, killing the Sonic emitter. None of the shots fall. Shatterer tank shots are unbelievable. Look at that. All of those APCs falling. All of the anti-infantry is gone. There's hammerheads back there. A lot of hammerheads, but they're going to get killed by the same thing as what this Marv will get killed by, and that is the supersonic airstrike. There's a Marv coming out, or it should, but looks like Phoenix is stalled for funds. Phoenix, looks like Eclipse is focusing on this part here. Phoenix should be really focusing on winning his side of the map rather than helping Drive. Drive can handle his own. He just needs to focus on winning this side here. There's no Shockwave artillery. Like, the moment I saw the Marv, what was going through my head at that point was just Shockwave. I need to get my tier 4 down as quick as possible to kill the hammerheads, to EMP the Marv. Because if that had happened, he would have been in a great position. Supercharged particle shredders and cloaking field brutal. Yeah, that shut down the infantry really hard. The Shatterer tanks in the initial fight did a lot, but after that, the base defenses came down and the army fell as just fell like that. This Marv really needs to die here. Yeah, it falls, but the hammerheads are still there. There's no, well, there is actually tungsten AA's. One of the SAM turrets is destroyed. Phoenix is struggling for funds. He really should have had a refinery on this field sooner, but I understand why he didn't. It is contested after all. Redeemer out for Eclipse. He can basically do what he wants in this game. Drive with the 3 harvesters, 1 ref. He's just unable to get a force out. He's still continuing to harass in the back with these bikes, trying to do as much as possible. But Eclipse, with being marked of Kane, can just put down those particle beam shredder turrets. He can only place defenses around his allies' Conyard. He can't place defenses around his allies' refineries, which are away from the Conyard's radius. That's one thing to take note of. Redeemer Rage. Maybe, I don't know why Eclipse is afraid to engage here. Drive is basically dead. He's just letting Drive get back into this game, which could be a mistake, because Drive is an expert. Oh, this is nice. I like that. Obelisk of Light on the front line, 2 Juggernauts, and 3 Husks to reclaim. If this falls quickly, this Jug, then he can reclaim these Husks and get himself back into this game. The MCV is just, he sells the MCV. This fight on the top field here was going so horribly bad with Phoenix, but somehow Drive has brought it back for him. Eclipse has just been dithering around here. He hasn't killed Drive. Drive's just happily mining away. The Redeemer? What was it afraid of? There was nothing in the base. He's got this Redeemer here. He's not even moving in with it. He's going to move in now. Phoenix did just inform him of that. This field was won. There's a Jug back there. There's actually a Zone Trooper too, which is quite a problem. There's no anti-infantry to deal with this. There's actually a ton of rifles too. Eclipse. Oh, this must be very frustrating. The Zone Trooper, he's just going to clean the Husks up as well. That one Zone Trooper is killing the whole army. The Zone Trooper kills the lot. Oh my god. He really needed those Juggernauts to be alive. Okay. The Redeemer will be pushed back. There's 2 obelisks. Does he have 2 MCVs, Drive? What? He must have... Oh, he's got triple MCV. But he's got no income. How is he funding this? Spectre's out now. But apparently Drive's like, you know what? After being on one ref this whole game, I'm just going to make 3 MCVs. Phoenix is bringing in a lot of cash right now. Eclipse does have the bottom right base. Drive's not dead. He's moving in to the expansion of Eclipse with an MCV. Now, this can be supported by Phoenix. Expect to see a couple Shredder turrets come down. He is Black Hand. He does have supercharged particle beams, so he can kill this infantry relatively quickly. There are avatars coming out. These harvesters are bugged. They should be ordered to take Tiberium here. This could hurt Shock. Shock doesn't have any income now either. So things have radically turned around. There's so much infrastructure, so much mining going on in this top field. I feel like all the team on the left need to do is just build an epic unit. They need to get their Marv and Redeemer out, and they've won this game. Look, that's exactly what Drive's doing. He's getting his Redeemer. Phoenix should probably put his Reclamator hub down here and just build a Marv. Look, these guys know what they're doing, don't they? They're not noobs. They don't need advice from me either, because I'm totally not. I suck at 2v2, so listening to me is probably a bad idea. A couple Firehawks coming in for Phoenix. Oh, he had to sell his War Factory because he didn't have any money to fence the tech lab. I guess that worked out for Phoenix. Kills the War Factory. Not with the Firehawks though. Marv coming out soon. And it's going to do exactly what it was designed to do. Contest a red zone Tiberium field. One click on the base here, but the tip is almost exhausted. It does kill 2 refineries, which is pretty nice, admittedly. But there is still so much tip for Phoenix and Drive to harvest. There's 3 obelisks for Drive. He's got so much money somehow. He's been able to bank up enough for obelisks and a Redeemer. Sonic Emitter's coming down for Phoenix as well. AA turrets. Not upgraded with Tibgor, but the rate at which he can spam those turrets should mean that he should get these hammerheads removed quickly. Shockwave comes down. Not sure whose it was. Looks like it was Shoktrepet. But there's nothing really to kill this Redeemer with. He's only got 1 obelisk. Eclipse. And a Sonic Emitter back here. He is getting rear damage on the Redeemer, but not enough to kill the Redeemer. The Redeemer can just go back to the War Factory now and get some repairs. Takes a while for Rajin to recharge. It's now 2 epic units v1. Expect to see a couple of Juggernauts come out as well. There's another Shockwave coming in. This will almost certainly end this Redeemer, because there's 2 obelisks and a Redeemer there. And that's basically it. Game over. Somehow, Eclipse let this one slide. He had all the time in the world to kill Drive. Drive had nothing on his field this whole game. I'm not sure what he was doing. You look at this resource graph here. Drive had nothing. His resources for the majority of this game was incredibly bad. And Eclipse as well. He was mining away from 2 fields. He should have had more resources than this. Especially after that game, especially after that spike in the beginning. How did they let that one slide so much? And the bikes that missed the MCV kill opportunity on the ramp. That was an incredible game. I think that they're playing fair here. Anyways, on the left-hand side, it's going to be 2-1. They bring it back somewhat, Phoenix and Drive. Nice comeback in that last game. Will probably give them confidence going forward, because they won while coming back from behind, and that's always good. Anyways, Drive, he's going to be playing as... Actually, what am I talking about? It's Eclipse. He's playing as Mark Kane once again. Shoktrepet is also sticking to his guns. Going to play vanilla GDI. I'm just confused by the colors, because usually I'm used to seeing yellow as someone else. But it's going to be drive for the yellow Black Hand. They're going to stick to the same factions, Phoenix, GDI. So GDI Black Hand versus GDI Mark Kane. Is that like the new Traveler Black Hand of today? Is that the best team composition there is today? A GDI and a Black Hand or a Nod faction. The map's going to be Arizona Sunshine, which is very similar to... Actually, is it similar to anything? I'm sure someone in the chat would say if it's a reskin of a map. Doesn't look like one. Mock Trav, I think. I'm not a 2v2 expert, so I wouldn't know. But I've seen some epic games on this map. I remember I had a game on this map with a heroic avatar, and I almost won it with the heroic avatar. I think it was Aggressive Panda I was against, and you just couldn't end the game. I had no production. He had 3-4 bases. Me, I only had a singular avatar. He let like 7 zone trooper squads get crushed by that avatar. Flame Rush coming in for drive. Are there any spikes to destroy with the Flame Rush? He is Black Hand, so he does get the veterancy rank on the Flame Tank there. Anti-Scout. Or I guess this is just to stop him from getting his refinery impede, which is very annoying. Eclipse not going to stop and shoot that. He will see the bikes though, because he decided not to stop and shoot. He's going to see that he's being rushed. And that's a very late bike coming out of that war factory, so he surely has to know by now there are more units on this map. He's got 3 bikes here, spots the Flame Tank, but there are bikes coming in. Flame Tank gets a nice shot on that bike. It's going to allow the other ones to intercept and take them out. The Flame Tank is here on half health. Scorpion Tank needs to be made. Does halt the Flame Tank in his path. Eclipse is not queuing anything from this war factory here. He's got a second war factory, but he's only queuing units from 1. What is going on, Eclipse? There are Pipples though for Shoktrepet to clean the rest of this rush up. I feel like rushes in 2v2 won't work unless your ally rushes as well, because you're just going to get 2v1'd. And that's why rushes don't work like they do in 1v1. I think that's going to put Drive behind in this game. We're going to go back to his base here. 3-1 for Drive. So that should tell us all we need to know about the situation of this game. 4-2 for Eclipse. His MCV going out for the expansion. Not to mention the rush distance on this map is also massive. Drive's moving forward with his MCV. Why is he putting it there? He moved it between the blue field and the green Tiberia. Maybe he wants to deny it from being harvested in the future. There's actually a lot of bikes here for Drive. He's moving into this base. I completely missed this. He's got 5 bikes, but this is for nothing if he doesn't kill a harvester. He's going to go ahead and kill one, but at what cost? At what cost is the question. He needs to go and commit to it. Otherwise, if he doesn't get this, it's all for nothing. Yeah, all the bikes are completely destroyed for 1 harvester. Phoenix a little bit late to the party, but he's going to be here nonetheless. Eclipse is not here to defend his ally. Where's Eclipse? He's going back to base. Drive, he is going rockets. He has one hell of a task to defend this, but he doesn't have an expansion refinery set up, does he? These guys playing very low eco. Harvester falls, 2 harvesters down for Shock, but he still has a healthy economy there set up. There's no expansions at all for Eclipse nor for Phoenix nor Drive. Eclipse just now getting down a refinery. So many battle markers. Black Hand squad's still alive. Might be able to kill a bike. They're pretty good against bikes actually, close range. Not as good as Tip Troopers though. Tip Troopers are amazing against bike spam. But we're in a similar situation as last game. I'm not going to call it. If I call it, then I'm just going to look like an idiot, am I? Because last game, Phoenix and Drive, they brought it back in a miraculous fashion. Phoenix is going to get down that expansion. He's actually got double ref here. Nicely spread out for the Catalyst Missile. Drive not getting down a refinery. He's just going all in, basically, on 1 ref. Did I say 1 ref? I meant to say 1 base. Speaking of Drive, he's getting counter-attacked here. He's only on 3 harvesters. That was really bad. There's 5 bikes left. This harvester's going to fall. Phoenix losing his harvesters. There's one ref here. There's an infantry push coming in. No AP ammo. But the double base defense drop from both players should be enough to halt this attack, especially since the Cabal buffing Aura has been depleted. Those Cabals, when they run forward, will get killed first, and your infantry army afterwards is debuffed and not as effective. That's why I want to revert the range buff on the Cabal, so they're not the first thing that's shot and killed by a watchtower. Because before they had range similar to a rocket squad, maybe with good reason. Yeah, that attack was stopped relatively easily. There's a bunch of Pred tanks here for Shock. Could maybe make their move into the base of Drive. Not much really to defend that. But these guys don't know their position they're in. There's an attack here. But there should be a tier 2 down already to fence this MCV. I'm surprised he hasn't fenced it already. Not going to be necessary, because that MCV will survive. Drive getting down that expansion ref finally. There's a beacon here for Eclipse. Bunch of Pred tanks for Phoenix. Did he know they were up there? I guess they blend in really well into this tank, into this map. It's like the Pred tanks have chosen this camo for this specific terrain. Again, these error messages keep appearing. Hammerhead's out. Bad news really for Pred tanks. They need AP ammo, APC support, or a couple of sting shots. Blackhand certainly, as we know, not the best faction to be up against Blackhand. So I think it's up to Phoenix to provide the anti-air against those Hammerheads. There's a ton of bike buggy here. There's no defense to kill the bikes. All of these harvesters are dead meat unless this is a sonic emitter coming down. This harvester line is going to be ravaged completely. Pred tanks will respond. An AA turret comes down. Just a bit of panic from Phoenix. Those bikes killed a lot of stuff. Shock on his third field, gonna start picking away at this field. It's a large third field. I think it's bigger than the expansion one. Both sides must share this in the late game, but I'm not sure if this game will go the distance. We'll see. Yeah, it's just all one side currently. So many harvesters being destroyed for Phoenix. He must have only a few left by now. There's a Juggernaut out, so he managed to tech up. He's going for an upgrade, railguns. And here's what I was expecting to happen a little sooner. The Pred tanks have moved their way into Drive's base. They're going to take out everything here. And Drive's expansion also being wrecked. 4 harvesters, 5 harvesters off the line, not harvesting. The team on the left will get further and further ahead as a result. Railguns online for Shock. We did see an upgrade for Phoenix not too long ago. It looks like it is railguns as well. You can see on the tech lab, he's got the railgun upgrade. There's actually an expansion. Shoktrepet has moved his MCV to Phoenix's third field. He's going to contest it. He's in a good position to as well, because his field's relatively untouched up here, so he can fund this and also take out Drive simultaneously. This bike buggy army focusing the ref. Does he have like a catalyst missile in mind to finish the second ref off? Eclipse seems to be a good ally for Shoktrepet. Definitely, these two definitely work well together, these players. There's the one click. As expected, gets it on that refinery there. Drives basically out of it. He's got no refinery. There's his one and only ref. But this Marv of Shock could just run forward and take out the refinery. And maybe he wouldn't have enough to queue another refinery drive. But mind you, there are a lot of Juggernauts here for Phoenix, but he's not even mining from his third field. These grow really quickly in the corners. No one's really harvested them though this whole game. They've only been trying to take from the middle. Maybe it's a little better just to go for the ones in the corner because they're less contested. I also found Jugs to be surprisingly good against stealth tanks. You need like epic micro to avoid the jug shells because of how quick the turret turns on the jug. It can turn and kill the stealth tank much easier than you think. Shockwave comes down, but there's nothing to kill the Marv. The jugs are all out of position. I think he timed it wrong. He really needed to kill the Marv here and now to have any sort of chance in this game. Will kill one Juggernaut, but he's going to get hit by a counter Shockwave. Expect to see everything come down here. It is pretty much over. The drop pod gets emptied as well. That's a little unfortunate. I think that this drop pod shouldn't get killed by sniper damage, because I think when you play against Scrin, they can buzzer swarm the drop pod before the zone troopers come out, and the buzzers kill the drop pod basically instantaneously, because I think the drop pod takes 100% sniper damage. So if I were to do a patch update, I think it's a good idea to make it normal, like 1% sniper damage. Seems like a bug to me. This field's gonna be lost because there's just so much money. So many MCVs for Shoktrepet. He's gonna plant down more Sonic emitters here. Even Eclipse. There's a beacon over here. Eclipse's army, original army, hasn't been cleaned up. MCV though, moving too far forward, could get taken out. There's one jug left for the Phoenix here. Drive's doing all he can to support this force, but it's not going to be quite enough, unfortunately, for him. A little bit of a con issue. I'm not sure what's causing that. It just seems to have happened randomly, but it will recover, I'm sure of it. Unless my router fell off the bloody window, in which case I need to go fix it. But as was the case last game, this will be over. And I'll have to see to this after this game. I'm pretty sure my PC's doing something in the background. The reason I had an unstable internet before is because I was using Wi-Fi. Anyway, let's continue with this series. It's going to be left versus right. This is a horse-made map. And on the left-hand side, we've got Eclipse. Let's try that again, shall we? On the left-hand side, we've got Phoenix, playing as the red nod of some description. Vanilla nod, okay, cool, cool. His allied Drive going to stick with the GDI. Wait, he's been playing... He played nod and then he went back to GDI. Is this the first time we're seeing Drive play GDI in this series? Because he played Black Hand last game and he didn't do too well. He played Scrin in the first two games. This could be the first time we're seeing him play GDI vanilla. So he's going to be over here as GDI. And on the right hand side, I don't think we've got any faction switch up. But let's make sure. We've got Shoktrepet as the cyan GDI. And Eclipse as the green nod of some description. I assume this to be marked of Kane. Probably a better choice in the 2v2 for the EMP. Now, I haven't seen this map, so I'm going to quickly go over it. Looks like we've got one safe spike in the top. There's a mutant hovel as well, probably because I have made mutants popular over recent months. And it should be on every map, really, the mutant hovel. It allows you to do certain cool strategies in 2v2, especially in 2v2. In the bottom, we don't have anything to speak of. If we go over to the middle, the bottom middle, we can see a blue Tiberium field, which starts off with no resources. There's a bunker on either side. Very advantageous, I suppose, putting a couple rockets in them in the early game. Buggy Scout coming in, not too much though from either side. They've got ion storms over these Tiberium crystal structures. Not sure if they do damage. I think it's not. It have to be set to the creep side in World Builder for the ion storm to do damage. So there is actually 2 spikes per player. Per player? Or is it per team? No, there is per player because there's 2 here as well. Alright, so I'm a bit more familiarized with this map. It looks a lot like Forgotten Forest. And it also looks a bit like Tournament Highlands. It uses the same terrain. It's a weird map. There's a huge middle field here, which looks like Tiberium Highlands. It really does look to me like Forgotten Forest and Tiberium Highlands like merged together, and this is the map that we ended up with. I haven't seen a map on this, a game on this map before, so this is interesting. A lot of people's coming out for drive. We'll come across a couple pits there. Will snipe those. Eclipse. Wasn't expecting that. Does he have a second war factory? Yes, he does, but bike buggy may not be the way to go about this. Probably should go for Scorpion tanks.
Rigged, ready to move out.
Couple harvesters there being pulled back by Shoktrepet. This is good economic damage. Drive's not bleeding too much forces. Looks like Shock's going to come in here with his own pitbulls. A bit of lag. Not me though, because I've since sorted that issue. 2 tanks for Phoenix. He's, as I mentioned before, triple rocket in this bunker. Probably going to pay huge dividends. That was my first reaction upon seeing that, because bunkers have a lot of health. But more people's coming in. This time a bit undefended. What's the score? It is currently 3-1. There's 4 halves here to a refinery for drive. He's ecoing this game, which is nice to see. This could be the first game that we've seen drive eco. Probably going to be activating God mode now. And no more fun and games. There's actually a harvester there for Eclipse that drive could just go ahead and kill if he wants. Eclipse noticing that there, going to pull that back. Missed opportunities, but there is another force of bike buggy up here to meet this pitbull army. Eclipse will fault this attack. It's pretty relentless, the pressure. The minimap looks very dark. It's hard to make out what is going on it, but got an MCV deployed in the middle there for Shock. He's going to be the first player to arrive on this middle Tiberium field. Expect to see a lot of juggernauts, a lot of artillery come into play. Flame tank for Phoenix. It's interesting, especially this late into the game. Sort of a curveball tactic. But this multi-pronged pitbull harass is going to make any sort of flame tank surprise attacks hard, because the players on the right are already expecting to get hit from multiple sides. So I think now is the right time to transition into jogs and redeemers and stuff of their own, because these attacks are going nowhere. It looks like they're doing a lot, but they're not killing anything. They've wasted so many forces on these attacks. I think harass on this map is pretty difficult, because you look at these narrow choke points here. It's pretty easy to defend. There's even a garrison there, a bunker. There's a lot of stuff to defend with. Tons of Scorpion tanks for Phoenix. Man, when have you ever seen that? Scorpion tank spam in a 2v2 match this late into the game? That is definitely new. I don't think it's going to work out. There's juggernauts here. There's hammerheads here. And this attack will be thwarted. And the more the hammerheads come into play, the less effective those scorps will be. Now, Phoenix is vanilla nod, so he probably has laser capacitors in mind. He's upgrading that lately. I'm just reading some of the bullets here. It's Phoenix really, but he's rusty. Well, we'll be the judge of that after this game and after this series. But there's a base push coming in here for Eclipse. Wait for more Sonic Miz to come down. Power is offline though for drive. Flame tank destroyed. Refinery goes down on the other refinery. Eclipse does get pretty battered economically. He doesn't have very much, does he? Drive only on a singular ref on his expansion field, not deciding to put down a second one. There's 2 avatars here for Phoenix. He's trying to do a little bit of a flanking maneuver, but the problem is Obelisk one-shot kills Scorps no matter what, even if they've got Dozer Blades, which is only plus 15% more armor in Kane's Wrath. In Tyrone Wars it's 25%, which I imagine allows them to survive that Obelisk shot, which is 3,000 cannon damage. And the Scorp tank has about 2,300. If you add 15% on that, that's still not going to make it to 3,000. Hard to say who's winning this fight in the middle, but if Drive can remove these obelisks, then he can quickly deal with this force here. He needs to watch for his Marv. It's pretty vulnerable. It may get destroyed by a shockwave. There's actually 2 Sonic emitters there by Drive. Drive pushing through on this force in the middle. There's nothing here for Eclipse. Eclipse is completely absent from this engagement. Now those Scorps have been keeping their blue field nice and clean. I like the smoke, the detail there for your horse. He's been doing a bit of map making recently. And these obelisks are being destroyed as fast as they come up. They're not actually getting a shot off sometimes. Oh, look at that. Trying to line up the shots and kill 3 avatars at the same time. Oh, nice move there with the Tyroom Silo. I like that from Phoenix. Tyroom Silos have way more health compared to the GDI counterparts. They have as much health as a power plant, only they cost $100. You do want to destroy them though. Sell them off before they die, because you will lose resources if you let the silo die without selling it off. Marv taking some serious damage. Drive can probably move forward with his jogs and finish that one off. That's going to be GG. Shoktrepet will take this out. Leaf focus mid, please. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. The fight went very in much favor of Phoenix and Drive, despite the unorthodox Scorpion tank spam, which I don't know if that ultimately did anything, but they came through nonetheless. It was Drive's jog spam which was able to overcome Eclipse's MCV push, and that's what won the game for them. Big Mule is sponsoring this. He's not here to watch it though, but I will post this on my YouTube channel edited, so you guys can see the scoreboard there. That's why I removed the UI in the bottom left, because that's where my scoreboard will go. Anyways, this series is still going on. It's 3-2 still for Shoktrepet and Eclipse, but they're losing some ground because last game Phoenix and Drive took a very convincing win on that new map. I think it's called the Harvest. I don't know the names of the new maps, but this one is called Tiberian Forest, which is basically a reskin of Forgotten Forest. So much like the first game, but given how good that first game was, having a game on the same map wouldn't... I'm not complaining. Anyways, on the left here we got Eclipse. He's going to still play Marked Up Kane. And Shoktrepet with the Cyan GDI. Now these two, they've stuck with the same faction, and as a result they may become a bit predictable now, because they've been playing more or less the same. At first you saw Drive and Phoenix, they were getting accustomed to that style of play. They haven't seen how they've been playing with those two factions, but now they probably know what they're up against, and they've been changing factions themselves. Drive and Phoenix, of course, are very versatile players. They can play any faction very well. Now Drive, he's over here as the yellow GDI, and Phoenix's ally is the red Nod. So they're going to go with Nod and GDI once more. And we're going to see how this game goes. As mentioned, it is more or less the same map as Forgotten Forest. There is a mutant hovel though in the middle. I would have put a mutant hovel near the player's base because it's very difficult to make use of a hovel that's contested like this. This should probably have been an EMP control center, if I'm honest. Scouting bike will cut off Phoenix's bike. Eclipse getting a small victory. Awaken squad's also cleaned up over here. Awaken need to be cleaned up because they can stall an expansion. And they're very good at getting some damage dealt early on with that EMP blast. They can EMP the enemy's ref, force the harvester out, and that just causes problems. Again with this, but we'll have to deal with it. Not sure who made this map, but it's been around for a while. I don't think these players are going to go for any sort of aggressive strategy. They might, but we'll see. What is it? The screen just flickered there. It could be my Wi-Fi that's just causing this problem. I'll probably have to look to replacing my Wi-Fi with a better solution in the future. Until now, I've been using Wi-Fi, and that's probably why I'm getting problems. A lot of pipples now, though, for Shoktrepet. Second War Factory maybe on Eclipse's mind, though based on the MCV placement this time, maybe he's just going to go eco. Second War Factory and a refinery. For some reason, Shoktrepet is very much behind in the ref, but that could be because Eclipse gets 2 spikes. There's an EMP in the top. Okay, so they got a mutant hovel in the bottom and an EMP control in the top. I would have gone for the hovel in the tops because it could mean you could go for an APC engineer and then follow up with more APCs and put the mutants inside of the APCs when they're going for a push. I really do like this glow on the river as well. Very nice touch. Got an attack happening. Bikes really stand not much of a chance against pits, unless Drive takes splash damage. So what you could do is get his pipples on formation move, so they don't take splash damage, because that's really what kills the pipples ultimately. Green Zero still makes that mistake. He doesn't scatter his pipples out, and they all die to splash damage. Drive containing the team on the left with this pipple spam. It's going to allow Phoenix to do whatever he wants. There's an EMP control captured up here by Phoenix. Eclipse is going to try and deal with that because it can cause problems, especially for Shoktrepet, who may have future Firehawks in mind. There's a ton of pipples though in Eclipse's base. He's going to lose all of his harvests here. There's nothing here. There's like 3 pipples. All of these harvests are being ravaged. There's still nowhere near enough to take this out. This could be game over right here and now. There's 2 watchtowers, 2 pipples. The health is slowly depleting on this force, but I think Drive's happy. He gets the 2 harvesters. He gets away, and Eclipse is not harvesting on his expansion. Also, Shock's ref placement is not ideal either. Lots of pipples here. Just hoping my PC can hold up while this series continues. I'm not so sure about it, but we'll see. Probably going to install Windows 11 in the near future. Maybe that'll solve my problems. An OS reinstall. Very much contained though, Eclipse and Shock. They haven't been able to do any sort of damage at all. Eclipse is sleeping. Yeah, he's going to be pretty absent now in this fight because he's going to be queuing harvesters instead of units. This is going to allow Phoenix and Drive to do massive damage to their opponents. And also take the blue tip, as you see here. Drive's just going to munch away at that blue tip. MCV moving in for Shock. He has his second MCV. Yeah, that's his second one. And a tier 3 is probably being queued now, so he can put down sonic emitters and contest this middle field. But Phoenix instead is going to decide to contest the bottom middle field, so I don't think there's going to be a fight for one specific field. Drive, we've seen him do so much harass, but since then his presence has been less on this map here. Oh, what's that? Tip Vane. Well, takes out a number of those bikes, but not nearly enough to make the investment worthwhile. I think that was a bit too preemptive, especially since there's a huge... Actually, never mind, that's Shoktrepet's army. Catalyst missile comes down, doesn't kill any of the harvesters. Probably could have waited until the army is on this field here before using the Tip Vane. Then he could have killed the halves which docked in the ref, because they would have already been damaged by the Tip Vane. Free Orca. Shoktrepet's like, yep, I'll have that, thank you. Marv should be coming out soon for Shoktrepet or the Reclamator hub, so he can start harvesting this tip field. It's just a great unit for contesting fields like this on Tournament Rift. I'm sorry, Tiberian Rift. Basically every map is based off of Tournament Rift nowadays in 2v2. Hammerhead's still causing problems. That's surprising given how there is a GDI player here, but they shouldn't be too much of an issue now because Phoenix has Tip Core. He can put down SAM turrets with Tip Core, or even get a couple stealth tanks out, which would be pretty good. Another issue with my PC or whatever it was. No Tip Core though for Eclipse. He's not doing a whole lot, is he? He's getting his Redeemer out. And if this MCV falls, then that's a pretty big win, isn't it? If I were Eclipse, I would be shielding this with all I have, but there's double base defense drops here now. He's marked a Kane, so he can disel his Redeemer engineering facility and put a Black Hand in there and burn down the base defense. That's one disadvantage of picking Marked of Kane. Your Redeemer has less anti-building destructive capability. MCV does get sniped there. Hammerheads are actually causing problems. Bikes though with that Tip Core, very lethal. And where is Drive's Marv? He's getting out now. He's got 3 jugs back here chilling. Could have been used in that fight earlier. Maybe he forgot about them. No one's deciding to take the middle field here. Oh, actually, never mind. Phoenix just now going to deploy his MCV there and take this safe Tiberium. If he can secure that, then they can probably secure this game. Shoktrepet is mining away happily here, but it's not exactly going to be for long because there's 3 jugs going to shell this ref, going to destroy it. Deciding to sell it instead. Not going to give that experience away. What's this Spectre doing? It is stealth, but he's just going to lose it. He's running forward. He's just going to... Yeah, there we go. Destroyed. That was a waste. Ouch, that has got to hurt. 3-4 harvest Shoktrepet, but he just cannot mine anywhere now. Both sides trying to mine and long distance harvest this tip. You're looking at this minimap and you see all the green on there, but it's just unaccessible Tiberium crystals. They do illuminate on the minimap, but you can't harvest them, which is quite weird, I suppose. Is this a pro game? Yeah, it definitely is. We've got some of the best players that are currently active in this series. It's been a fun show match to watch so far. I think Eclipse and Shoktrepet definitely out of the driving seat now. We got Phoenix and Drive there slowly in a commanding position, taking over this match. They've got a refinery set up here. Drive has Eclipse, Phoenix. He's working on 1, 2. But just looking at this map, there's no resources left for Eclipse. or Shoktrepet to build up the army. They need to contest that middle field. I could be wrong, but I'm just not seeing how they can win this field over. Phoenix is here. He's got a Redeemer. There's two Vertigos. Bombs the bike. That Vertigo's not long for this world. Yeah, it goes down. I thought it would have re-stealthed and avoided the missiles, but didn't happen. Okay, I like that. There's an EMP down. He needs to continuously chain this Redeemer and keep it empty, otherwise it's all for nothing. There's a Marv there, but there's no supporting Juggernauts to keep this one EMP'd. What was that just fell? I'm not sure. Tyrene Vane comes down. Not going to do a whole lot. Rage Gen does fire off a Shockwave too. Looks like that's Drive Shockwave. Completely misses the mark. Doesn't get the Marv. And Shoktrepet decides to throw it in. So there you go. That game was won through the Pipple harass that Drive did. He nailed the Harvesters of Eclipse, and since that point on, the team on the left had nothing to win the middle field with. So if 6 games are played and the total of 9 possible games can happen, then this technically does turn it into a best of 3. Anyways, it's going to be this rift, this arena map. I don't know the name of it. I'm not someone who plays 2v2 regularly, but on the left will be Phoenix sticking with the vanilla nod. He's going to be over here. And to the south of him will be Drive as the yellow GDI. Going to stick with GDI as well. These guys have found their comfort zone, and that's going to be GDI and nod. It's up to these guys over on the right hand side to bring this one back. They've lost momentum. They've lost the last 2 games. They were in a commanding lead, but it's been slipping from them. It's going to be Eclipse as the... Wait a minute, he's GDI. He's Vanilla Nod this time. So he made a faction switch up. Do we have a scrim faction for the first time for the team on the right? No, we don't. Looks like we got Shoktrepet just sticking with the Vanilla GDI. None of the sub-factions are seen ever for the GDIs because Steel Talons and Zocom sacrifice too much in certain areas, like Zocom. While their aircraft and infantry are very powerful, they don't get railguns, nor do they get artillery, which is the most important thing. Steel Talons, on the other hand, they get really good artillery. In fact, Behemoths have 10% more health than Juggernaut, but they don't have sonic emitters, and their infantry don't get upgrades. They don't get zone troopers to put inside of their Marv. And their main battle tank, the Titan, well, it's technically a Walker, but it's very lackluster until the late game. So they lack a lot in the infantry and the base defenses, and railgun Mammoth tanks don't make up for it because Mammoths are not that great anyways. You don't see Mammoth tanks spam because of how clumsy they are, but with Steel Talon you're forced into it, which makes them not ideal. Buggy Scout coming in. This is a nice map. It's basically Tournament Arena doubled up. I believe it's the same exact size as Tournament Arena, maybe slightly larger, but it's a 2v2 variant of it. No rushes coming out, just standard eco play from Drive. But he's aware that it's a show match, so the first few games he tried to make some interesting opening start, like we saw on the Dam game. He went for Disciple opening, failed miserably, but then still came through and won that game. Eclipse is going to be pressured heavily on his expansion field here. He's got his Harvester waiting to come out of the rift. No, he actually powered it down when the Harvester did spawn, so not sure why he did that. There's no blue tip on this map. That's one key difference between this and the regular rift. I keep saying Rift. Arena. Best of 9 series are really long. Very long to cast. These pits probably just scouting. You'll see the double war factory, which is nice. I would probably react to this by making infantry. Shat Inf is a really good combination against GDI. You can probably kill Scorps as well. Infantry get a 200% armor buff against gun damage with composite armor. It's not 100% more, it's actually 200% more, which makes them fairly resilient to the hammerheads compared to other infantry. So even if your opponent decides to go hammerhead spam, that missile spam will be able to contend with it nicely. Tier 2 now coming down for Eclipse. We haven't seen any not infantry coming out from these players. You can spam not inf and use it in the late game to get awakened. You can synergize that with the Voice of Kane ability. Voice of Kane, I meant to say redemption, but you can also move in with your MCV and deploy a Voice of Kane. So it buffs your not infantry. It's insane. It gives the infantry 50% more rate of fire, 25% more armor. Plus it makes them invulnerable to suppression, which you don't see. In the description of the Voice of Kane, it says that it should also suppress enemy infantry, but that does not happen. ABC does fall there. Random ass bunker in the middle of the map. Maybe this is just to keep scouts in the early game. What's going on? MCV move coming in once again. This is a very popular thing to do, just because of how hard it is to remove an MCV without artillery. Phoenix is going with this Scorp tank spam, which against a Pred tank spam is not going to work too well. He's going for now beam cannons, but I don't like this move at all. He's even bleeding a couple tanks here and there. Eclipse is going to assist this attack with an obelisk. Laser turret, yeah, you know things are getting desperate when you see laser turrets, man. Drive needs to make something happen. He needs to make it now. For some reason, they don't have very much going on, do they? Maybe that pit harass did that much to them. Eclipse has got a couple Dozer Blade Scorps between tanks. For some reason, Phoenix doesn't have Dozer Blades on his tanks. He's getting overrun here. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't even have a tier 3. He actually does have a tier 3, but he doesn't have anything to show for it. He's got beam cannons, but what are those going to do? Just kill or not? They're just going to kill the sonic emitters. He'll be able to push this back. This is weird. My only complaint is MCV having a lot of health with fence. Yeah. I want to fix that in my patch. This attack will be forced back. And I like the fact that Phoenix is using the beam cannons to charge up this obelisk. We saw him not long ago do that. Increases the rate of fire of the obelisk and the range by 10% for every beam cannon that's charging the obelisk. He's only get 2 shots off at most. Those 2 fall. Vertigo comes in. We'll get some nice splash damage. Not deciding to get that nice juicy target there with the Pred tanks. No Redeemer out. This attack is coming in still. 1 jug left. 2 jugs actually. Spectre artillery. It's all about keeping the Juggernaut numbers low when you're in the defensive. There's 2 Vertigos out now. Phoenix is going to use those to kill the Juggernauts. They can only kill 1 singular Juggernaut per bombing run. They have to also dispose of the husks as well. Otherwise, this will be for nothing. If you don't kill, this engineer is going to run to this minefield. Maybe he's aware of that. Yeah, look, see? Eclipse puts down the mine. This engineer is going to run into the mine. Look, there you go. That mine drop actually stopped the husks from being captured. Nice work. 3 Vertigos are out now. If those aren't respected, that could be disastrous for Eclipse and Shock here. There you go. There's another Vertigo. Another jug that was killed. He should use the 3rd one to kill the husk, or maybe he's just going to go ahead and kill that now with the buggy. Ah, man, he's not going to be able to do it as well. That Vertigo bombing run was for nothing. He does just get the husk back immediately. Redeemer taking huge damage in the bottom. This could get destroyed, especially when it's taking rear damage. That gets destroyed instantly. Things are falling apart now for Eclipse and Shoktrepet. There's 2 Spectres back here, wounded. Needs to get those healed up. There's actually a lot of war jugs reinforcing in. Where's he getting all these juggernauts from? There's a war factory there. There's a recommender hub. These Vertigos aren't doing a whole lot, are they? Oh man, this could be a bad. He's not going to kill this from the health that it's at. Mind you, there are 3 juggernauts shelling it. He could get it. The Redeemer's really low on health. It's going to get taken out. I thought that wouldn't happen. There was only 3 jugs there. I suppose because it was showing its rear armor. Looks like Eclipse has followed suit. He's now going for his own Vertigo bombers. Did you know snipers can also kill husks in one shot? Husks take 100% sniper damage, guys. So you can actually use snipers to kill husks if you ever struggle to do so. Maybe that's one use of shadow teams. Get a shadow team in there, kill the husk with a shadow team. Might be worthwhile in Nod Mirrors. Dimmy's like, oh, I didn't know that. One more Juggernaut gets taken out there. It's Battle of the Vertigos. Neither side has bothered to make anything to kill them. Looks like we've got a couple now. A couple Pipples for shock. Radar lagging missile comes down just to lag the game. That's all it does. It's 10 seconds with no radar, but I find it to be pretty useless because everyone in this game is already used to playing the game without a radar because of all-ins. I feel like the powers that deceive your opponent are pretty useless in this game. They should be buffed. Make it 15 seconds of no radar. The stealth beams in the back. How do you know that? Oh, there is as well. There's only 3. Where did those come from? That's not going to do a lot though. There's only 2 beam cannons. I don't know if he killed anything. The tech center's there. The tier 4's there. I think that achieved nothing. It was 3 going down the drain, but it's really crumbling now. There's no real answer to this with Marv. Marv's got quad engineer in it, so this is going to be incredibly hard to take out. There's a Redeemer about to come out though. Because this Marv has no DPS to it, that Redeemer will be allowed to come out. Phoenix needs to watch his Vertigos. He needs to watch them. 1 more remains. That's going to probably get taken out on the deck. The airfield's actually taking splash damage by the Pipples. No mortar upgrade. Last beam cannon does fall. Feels like stealth flame tanks would have been a better in the back. Yeah. Individually, the flame tanks do more damage. But if you've got like 4 or 5 beam cannons, the damage can combine when it works. Sometimes the beam cannons don't want to combine their beam, and that sucks. But let's say it does happen. Beam cannons can be really good. There's a veteran Vertigo. Oh, he's going to drop the recommend the Redeemer engineering facility. So Phoenix started off with the Vertigos, and Eclipse is going to end it with the better Vertigo use. I feel like this base push by Shoktrepet is what's powering this. They're able to get reinforcements in and deny harvesting operations on this field here by Phoenix. Speaking of harvesting, there's just not much going on as far as harvesting is concerned. Drive's going to throw it in. He's only got 2-3 buildings left. There's no real firepower on this map for Drive. He's moving in with his harvesters, looking to see if he can crush any infantry, but there's more than inf here, buddy. There's a Marv, there's Juggernauts. They're going to throw it in. They're going to fight till the last militant. Ultimately, though, not going to be enough. I would just quit here and now. That's going to put Eclipse and Shock 4-3 in this best of 9. So they have one game left to win it. Much like the last tournament that Phoenix and Drive played these two guys. We're now in a similar situation. So there's no room now for error, no trolling either. They should get the map picked next game. Now this map has been done and dusted, I think Nash and Drive will win the next two. Well, there's the first prediction for Guaspari. Anyway. Eclipse and Shock take that game with some nice vertigo control. Nice effort though from Phoenix trying to stealth those beam cannons and get them around the back. Ultimately not enough, but I guess he tried. Anyways, it's going to be Ice Arena this game. And it is 4-3 for Eclipse and Shoktrepet. They're probably feeling pretty good because they now have one game left to win. And they're going to be down here sticking with the same factions as they've always done this whole series. Though Eclipse midway decided to switch to Vanilla Nod. Let's see if he has decided to stick with that faction. No, he's gone back to Marked Up Kane. So he won that last game with Vanilla Nod. This time, he's going to go back to the Marked Up Kane. In his ally Shoktrepet, we assume can only be GDI because that's the only faction that makes sense in a tournament, in a 2v2 match against pro players. Up in the top will be Drive. He's going to be GDI Vanilla. In his ally, Phoenix going to go with the Vanilla Nod. This time, probably not going to go for Scorps, though. On this map, Scorps are better. It's gonna. There's a lot more terrain, open, flat terrain, which favors Scorp tank spam. The only thing he has to be concerned of is hammerheads from the GDI player. But if he goes for laser capacitors and gets a bunch of laser venoms out as well, I don't imagine that to be a problem. The rifle should always win this fight, but you never know. Sometimes they don't. Drive will win that engagement. Just minor skirmishes between scouts in this part of the game. And for all of you who don't know, this has 2 spikes per player, per team. This one has been captured by Phoenix. And there's one over to the right of Drive's base. As you see, he took that over. Sometimes players will take both of them. I believe that that has happened in the bottom. No, they shed their spikes. It's hard to tell on the minimap. But you can go for both of them on this map as well. There's a nice battleship in the middle. 2 blue fields, which start off with no Tiberium, which grows over time. So you can send a harvester here and get a boost of income in the mid game if you choose. Just scouting happening currently. Now, I'm not surprised that players are playing this quite passively because there's a lot at stake with this game. You don't want to go for some all-in rush. Especially if you're the team on the left-hand side of this map. There's no room for error. There's a bike coming in. 2 bikes. Doesn't achieve anything. That was weird. Why did Eclipse decide to engage with 3 bikes in a 2v2 without his ally supporting him? It seemed unnecessary. This will just put him behind economically. There's a harvester though, which may get taken out. There's 3 pit bulls, 2 bikes. If there's nothing to defend this could be destroyed quickly. Shoktrepet is getting his harvester destroyed. This is almost certainly going to be destroyed, especially with these 3 pit bulls here, which have way more armor. They should be able to take this one out. I should think so. Yeah, it does finally go down there. Kills the harvester, leeching blue Tiberium, though it wasn't full of Tiberium. Yet it is painful, and it will set Shock behind a little bit. Drive at the top. You can see he didn't go for a second refinery. He instead went for a second war factory, so that's a big deal, guys. He doesn't have a third refinery on that field. So he's basically banking on this working out for him, which it may in fact do, though he probably doesn't want to be reverse moving into the tanks, because those will take way more damage than what they should. Now, is he going to ignore the tanks and go instead for the harvesters? There's tanks here to respond. 3 more. Harvester will just about go down, I should think so. If not, that's a disaster. It goes down, but at what cost? All of the pits are dead for a singular harvester. I think Eclipse will be happy about that. He's even going to pop down a second refinery on this expansion field. Drive, meanwhile, getting down a 3rd ref. He's been ecoing up while this has been all happening. And Phoenix as well, likewise, getting that 2nd refinery down. We've seen no fast tech 1-click at all in these series. Usually players like to go fast tech for the Catalyst missile, but this series I haven't seen that thus far. Been a lot of skirmishes and a lot of action in the early to mid game. Wow, that ref placement. That's almost as bad as mine. I probably would have gone for a tier 2 prior to putting the ref so I can crawl to this area here without compromising my ref placement like Drive did. Couple of bikes there for Phoenix. He will clean up the Raider Buggy Scout. Another attack for Drive, but there's no... Where are the rest of the Scorpion tanks? They're over here. He kills 2 at Harvester. Drive just lost 1/2 there. This one could go down as well, but with the War Factory repair, he should be able to hold that back. Pitbulls themselves, did they kill anything? I didn't quite see. I believe that they didn't. There's a flame tank here, will be spotted. Phoenix trying to sneak in that flame. Gonna kill himself a Pitbull, which is nice, I guess. That counter attack. There's a harvester that just fell there, unless that was a harvester from before. Did you guys just see that? I'm pretty sure if I went back frame by frame, there was a dead harvester there. But there was nothing there to kill it. Tier 3 for Eclipse. He's not researching any upgrade. Oh, chemical plant. On Drive's refinery. Gonna make Drive suffer and take out the one that is in a good position. Does he have another one queuing? I mean, Drive's that good that he probably would have expected this and has another ref ready to go. Yeah, look at that. The returning 1-click comes down for Phoenix. Eclipse, though, doesn't have anything to replace that. There's an attack coming in for Shoktrepet. Hammerheads should... This Hammerhead here is a real problem because all these rockets will fall and there'll be no more defense here. There is a base defense being queued, what looks to be an obelisk. Phoenix needs that down as quick as possible. He does have one obelisk there which he can use to hold this back. This infantry army is upgraded with composite armor, so he can probably sit back over here and just camp these fields. Phoenix is vanilla nod. He's not mock or black hand, so he can't go for upgraded shredder turrets to kill infantry. This is a real problem. Drive doesn't even have AP ammo. This infantry army is going to do way more damage than what you think, unless he sells something off and cloak fields the infantry to thin this force out a bit. This is going to do more than what it should. There's a black hand squad there, but that'll get killed. Avatar falls. There's 2 avatars here for Eclipse, so he's building up his force. Both sides. Looks like Phoenix does have Tib Core, but Eclipse doesn't. Shock needs to focus down that husk. He's not doing it. There's a Marv here for Shoktrepet. But Phoenix will respond to that with his own Redeemer. There's a lot of jugs. Look at this base defense wall for Shoktrepet. I feel like he needs to go for a supersonic airstrike once again. Supersonic airstrike. I keep getting distracted by these messages that keep appearing. I meant to say the shockwave artillery. He needs to build a tier 4, but he may not even have to because the Redeemer is just going to get killed here and now. Oh my god. Oh my god, guys. Did you see that? That Redeemer just fell. That is a catastrophe. Now there's a Marv just rolling through this base. That could be game over. There's a shockwave coming in. Drive doesn't have much over here on the left-hand side. There's a wall of avatars to defend this base. Orbital strike. You know things are getting dire when that happens. Phoenix really needed that to hold that back. This pushback. There's 3 Vertigos here. He needs to try and kill this Marv and keep all of his stuff alive. There's a double A turret come down. A second turret. Remember, Vertigos do unstealth when they're on heavy damage mode. The Marv just crushing through this base. Shoktrepet killing everything in sight. This Marv is just laying waste to this base. And whatever comes out here will be also long for this world. It's going to go down. Drive, he needs to somehow 2v1 this enormous Nod and GDI army. He's got Firehawks. Where are they going? Are they going off the map? Yeah. Don't blame them, man. That may be the best way to go. Because this game is slipping further and further away from the team on the left. That bug cost the game, literally. Yeah, I'm not sure if what kind of bug it was, but the Marv will be destroyed. Okay, guys. The game's not over. There's 3 completely unanswered Zone Trooper squads here, which are killing all of the Juggernauts. But he needs to kill the Husks. This is all for nothing if the Husks do not get destroyed. He must kill those Husks. The Marv was taken out. Now, this army is unanswered. There's a lot of EMP there. Enlightened. Oof, that's going to be hard to deal with. There's no hammerheads for Drive. Thought with that push, they would have been okay. But yeah, Eclipse. This army is just too big. He's going to kill this force, no problem. Look, he's just going to EMP this stuff. Everything gets locked down and emptied, and that's basically game over. There's going to be no final game in this show match, guys. Shoktrepet and Eclipse will take this series, and Drive decides to throw it in. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that final match. But despite the outcome, I did enjoy casting and watching these games, guys. Some of them were one-sided, but a couple of them were gems, like that first game. I felt like that was the best game of the bunch today. So I guess I should say a big congratulations to Eclipse and Shoktrepet for taking this series. 2 great 1v1 players, but no synergy. Yeah, that's what happens. Myself and Bike Rush also had the same problem eventually. Though I probably just got worse at the game. That's probably the reality of it. That bug could have cost the game. It would have made a difference, but how was Drive going to deal with that huge mock army? Remember, Drive went for the 2 war factories. Drive went for that 2 war factory push, and he killed a harvester, but look at the forces he expended for that 1 harvester. You can't just kill 1 harvester, lose 10 pipples, and expect to come back from that. I feel like Drive, nowadays, he doesn't play as safe as he should in these games. If he had ecoed that game and built up a huge force, maybe that would have ended up differently. They were so behind. They were behind for the majority of this series, and yet they were still taking these risks. But it still made for a fun show match, and they're not going to take it today, but maybe in the future.